you don't want to return it like this. You want to return it inside. Let me check this contact list. Sliver Eber, actually, let me see. So here we have this one. So let's cut this, and we're gonna put it outside. And now it should good. And now you cut this one, and let's cut this OBX just like this. Okay, now with this it becomes dynamic. So if we retreat the conditional change, now if you restart, or like this, let's see. Okay, now let's click on this, and we see only one. But of course we need to work on a refresh button over here, where it would get auto refreshed. Not really we go to different pages, but you get the idea. Well, so far we are able to read the information from our Firestore database about the users that have used our app. Next we'll see how to click on this and start chatting. Okay, well, before you auto refresh that, actually let's work on one thing. If we want to click on this and go to a new route page and start chatting on that, that's what we want to do. Now to be able to do that, first we need to go ahead and create a new function. So here we'll create a new function and we'll call it go chat, and this is where we'll go to the chatting page actually. And here we'll pass user data, and then we'll call it to user data, a variable. You can name it anything you want. All right, just like this. Okay, now this would be a long function, so it'd be quick, and part of it actually would be a dedicated video later on where I explain more about it. Okay, so first we have to get data, all the data from messages list. Let me show you how it should work. This is my actual Firebase console over here, and this is the app that's already up and running. And here you will see that we have this message. Now this is a collection, and after each collection there should be a document, and each document should have another collection. And here we'll have information about two people. The two people, they were talking or chatting with each other. Like here you can see two names, one is Zaminder and this is Kale. So this is a document for two people. Now actual messaging information is here, what they have talked so far, but the document itself, so this is the chatting information between these two people. But what I'm trying to say over here, so each of the document refers to a connection between certain two people. Like over here you might see that here Zaminder and Mark, there's another person that they were trying to talk. So this is this information about two people, and the actual information is over here. So we have to have a collection named message, and inside this we'll have documents like this, and then we'll have collection and fields, and then sub documents and sub collections like that. So that's what we want to do. Now currently in our Firebase, which is this one, Firebase console, we don't have any of this. Just now we have users. So here we are going to code things right now, and it will create automatically. It will create collections and fields and sub collections. It will do it automatically. The purpose of this function is to do that. All right, so just now we saw that we need to create a collection. Now, first time we already know that if there is no collection, it will create a collection on its own. So let's go ahead and add async modifier. And once again, I have this with converter. So this collection, if it doesn't exist, then it'll create for us automatically. Now over here, I'm going to invoke a class which is called a message MSG. And here we'll use the from Firestore. And now over here, once again, I'll have message MSG and options. and over here we'll have options like this, and then we do message.toFirestore, this one. And after that, over here we'll do a conditional check, so double conditional check, where we'll have where. Now inside this where we're gonna use ID. Now what kind of ID? So this should be from UID, the person that's trying to click over here and send a message, so that we'll call it from UID. And then it should be is equal to access token, or here we'll have a token, actually we'll call it token. And then after that we'll have another condition. Here we'll also have where one more time, and then over here the person that I'm trying to send a message to, that person should be UID. And then here we'll have is equal to, let's see, is equal to user data dot ID, and then we get everything from here. And we're gonna save it over here in a variable, and we'll create a new variable and we'll call it from messages, and save it here just like this. Now of course this function go chat would be more complicated. Now a lot of the things here is not making sense, so let me go through it, walk you through it one more time. So here we'll imagine we have a collection where we have information about chatting messages for all the users. That collection name is message. So over here, first, once again, we use with converter because we want to get and save data to Firebase. So before we do that, we convert from map to JSON, from JSON to map, like that, from map to object actually, and from object to JSON. All right, you can call them from JSON and to JSON. The idea is same. Now first time, from UID, the person that would be clicking and sending message, so that person's field should be from UID, and it should be equal to the token. The token is the current user, the user that has opened this app, and it's ID actually, but we called it token over here. Now over here, this one is equal to the person that I'm going to send a message to. So the first one is the person that's trying to click, so that's me, or as a user. And the second one, the person I'm trying to send a message to, so that's where this condition goes. So based on these two conditions, we can get the right person that we are going to send messages to. Now that happens to from messages, where we try to initiate the conversation. Now it could be other way around. It could be that another person is trying to initiate the conversation. So in that case, we'll copy it and change over here. And a lot of the other things, they don't change. The only thing change is over here as well. Now this time, instead of doing this, we do to user ID, this one, and over here we need to change this one as well. So this time we change it to token. So this is the other way around. If someone else tries to send me message, so it should fall to this collection and its condition. If you try to send message to another person, it should be using this one. Okay, so that's why we need to have both to work together. And we also need this double conditions, otherwise it just won't work. If you just have this one, you don't know which person you are sending messages to. It's hard to keep track. So that's why over here we involve another person. Okay, certain user with that certain ID, we send message from our device using our token as a recognition. All right, so we'll have this one, but of course at the beginning nothing is there, so it's all empty. So here we'll do from messages, and then we'll say docs and is empty. If it is empty, as well as over here to messages dot docs from is empty. if nobody has started any conversation, so they should all return actually false. So that or I mean they should all return empty, right? So if it is empty, then we need to we still need to initiate the conversation. If we have previous, so this is also more like if we have previous messages. But if our messages are empty, two people A and B, if they haven't talked, then we have to find a new mechanism to start initiating this conversation. By the way, here I forgot to talk about this on MSG. Once again, this is in your common folder. So it's about message model, how a user should talk and the model about it. So it's there. Once again, to Firestore means to JSON method, from Firestore means from JSON. It's just a different naming over here, and everything else stays the same about creating model. I have tons of tutorials about them. Just go ahead and check them out. So yeah, over here we are checking if two people A and B have never chatted together. Actually, it would fall to this conditional check over here. Now over here we do message, and then inside this we'll have from UID, this one. So here we'll have user data. And actually before we do that, we need to get some information, otherwise it's not gonna work. Here we do string profile await user store the current user data. We get that, and we also get to get profile. Now what is this profile? This method is already defined in our common function, like as you can see over here. So it gets user profile key, which we have stored before, like using this one, and we know that this one set token has gotten called from here. So this work we have already done in our earlier tutorials. So go ahead and try to understand. Then if you have questions, you can leave a comment below. I'll try to answer you. So this get profile has been automatically done for us in this helper class that you should have access to. Anyway, so now we'll have this user's profile information, and then we want to turn it to an object. So here with user login repository, this one, and here we'll have user data, and then user login repository, this one. And then it has a method called from JSON, and then we pass this profile. But before we pass, we also need to use JSON encode, otherwise it might not work properly. And then we just send a profile, and JSON, actually it should be decode, not encode. That's why we have this error. Now it's gone. Yeah, now this one should return you string. Now using this class, this model, and from JSON method, we are converting user data into an object, which is easy to work with. Every time you have a model in your application, actually the model you create to convert string to an object or JSON data to an object. And using object, why you do that? Because for example, if you have user data, this variable now, which is an object, and you have a dot operator, you can access all of them, and which is very convenient way to work with your data if you have an object. All right, so anyway, so now here we'll have MSG, and then inside this we'll have from UID, and then now we have user data. So user data dot access token, this one. Now we also have to UID, this one. Now this one is coming from the one that we are going to send, so ID. Now you have to remember one thing, to user data, which is an object of this type. So this would be sent, so all the other users except you would be accessed through this one. Remember, here we show each of the list, and these are the users that are available in our database, not including you. So each time, remember, this one should be actually sent from here, right? Actually, so this object would be sent from here. Later we'll see how we call this function, the function that we are creating right now, this one, from here. So as we call them, actually we will send each of the users that are listed over here. So That's where this user data and to user data works. And so this ID refers to the other user, this access token refers to the current user of this app on this current device. All right, so here we'll have from name, and then here user data dot display name, and then to, let's see, to name and to user data dot name. And here once again we'll have from avatar, so user data dot we can use a photo URL for our avatar, and to avatar to user data dot photo URL, just like this. And then we also want to see if the user has a last message or not, but if this is the first time, definitely user doesn't have a last message, so that should be empty. And the last time, so here we can use a timestamp to keep the record of this conversation, timestamp dot now. All right, and then we'll also have message number is 0, because if everything is empty, it means two users, they have never talked together. And now over here we'll save this data in a variable, so here it's a message data, just like this. Okay, all right, great. So right after this, now we'll be able to use this object to send the data to Firebase. We already know that our collection is called messages. Well, it still doesn't exist, so this is the first time it would get created, because we know that this condition would be true first time, so then would be inside this conditional check, which is including all of this, and then it would go ahead and create a collection name message, and then here we would use with converter. Once again, you do this always to remember. Now right now this would be an object, but you can't really send object to Firebase. You have to send JSON data to do that. So that's where the with converter comes in and helps you, right? So hopefully it should make sense. Now over here, once again, message. So first we have to call this from Firestore method, and then over here message and options, and right after this message dot to Firestore. Yeah, that's how it works. And then so this collection, so it takes whatever the data. Actually, in this case, as we are trying to add, this section should get called, and it would convert this object to JSON object, this one to JSON or map, and then submit it to the Firebase. And how would do that? So here we'd call the add method. So add method would add the data, so message data. All right, and this is an asynchronous operation, so we can wait and see what happens, and then it will return us a value. That value should have information about our document ID, which we'll grab. Now here things go interesting, and this is actually where first we create a router. So the router, we would do like this, get the to named, this one. All right, now here we'll create a router which is called a chat. So once we click on this, the chat page would get invoked, and then we'll start actually doing our chatting. Now over here we are sending parameters, a lot of parameters actually. So the first one here we would do like this, doc ID. So in getX, if you want to send parameters using routing, then you have to use this curly braces, and then inside this you pass whatever you want to pass. So the first one is ID, second one to UID, the person that we are trying to send messages to, so that's user data dot ID. Now if it is empty, then just don't do anything, keep it empty. Now to name, here to user name dot name. If it is empty, then keep it empty, and to avatar. profile. All right, just like this. And actually with this, pretty much we're almost done with this function, but still a little more to go. So this is the condition first time if the user is empty. So now this part, if the user has two users have never talked with each other. Now this is for general data, getting users data. Now this is for if two users has never talked with each other, right? If everything is empty. Now what if everything is not empty, which means the user has talked with each other? Then we need to do a bit of different thing. So first, let me come over here, and over here, what we could do, we can just simply go ahead and copy this this route from here. All right, we'll copy that, and then we'll come over here, and then here we'll do a conditional check first. Okay, if from messages, and then here we would say docs, and then is not empty, which means that for certain user there is information in the database. So for that one, what we'll do, we'll just go ahead and copy this one, the one that we had early. Now in this case, the doc ID we need to change, so not this one anymore. Here we do from messages dot docs dot first dot ID. Now this stays the same, and then we'll copy this one more time, and over here we'll put it, and here we'll check two messages, and over here we do the same, two messages, and everything else stays the same. With this, we're done with this function. So if user has data already, then we'll go ahead and use this route. The actual route same, just the way and the data you send, they are a little bit different, and everything else stays the same. Okay, so now we need to find a way to call this. So we're gonna call it from here. So here we would call controller.goChat. Now here definitely we're gonna pass item to it, and that's all. So as I click on this, it'll take me to a new route. But of course, right now it's not going to work because we don't have the new pages yet. Before we do that, actually, let us put a conditional check over here. Item dot ID not null. If the ID is not null, then we go ahead and check this. Yeah, just like this. Now we need to come to our folder over here, and so inside this we're going to create a new folder, and we'll call it chat. And inside this, actually, we're gonna copy everything. We'll copy that and put it here. Okay. Now let's close everything else for now. And now let's open the bindings first, or maybe the controller itself. So we don't need this, and we don't need any of this for now. Remove that, and here we'd call it chat controller, and then we'll just simply call chat controller. All right, and now we'll copy this one. We'll come to our bindings. Now here, chat controller, and then we would also do chat binding. That's how it goes. And the view itself over here, chat controller. Here we could say chat page. Let's copy this and put it here. And where else we have this problem? Okay, now a lot of this we don't need now, so just go ahead and remove them. We also don't need this. Okay, great. Now this error is gone. Now we need to come to our routes over here, I guess pages, and inside this you'll see that okay, I'm gonna remove this and this here. Okay, so we'll uncomment this. All right, now chat binding, chat pages, at the top we need to import that, then there should be gone. So here we do chat and this error is gone. So it should take us to let's see, actually this one, chat page. So it should take us to this page over here. So let's get started. Now here in this section, this is what we want to build. So we'll have an app bar like this, and of course this would be our chatting pages. As you can see, you'd be able to send images and text like that. So this part is more excited, I guess. All right, so as you can see, we can send messages, and even if you want, you'd be able to send photos, images, wherever you want from. So let's check it. Now it should be auto sent. We need to wait a bit of moment. Yes, so the image is there, and it's still loading, and you'd be able to click on this and preview the photo. All right, so now this part is very excited, and being said that this is also a lot of work that we need to do. Anyway, so let's get started. So first at the top, what are you going to do? We're going to build an app bar actually, and we don't want it inside build method. Actually, we can have it here. So here app bar, and then we'll call it build app bar. Now over here, simply we'll just return widget. So here we do return app bar, and that's all. Now inside this, we're going to set up our own properties. So the first one is the background color, and here we do colors.transparent, colors.transparent, and then down there we do elevation. We don't need any elevation for this, and as well as flexible space. So let's do that one, flexible space container. Now inside this, we'll have decoration, and we'll do, well, const box decoration. All right, and inside this, as you can see, this is a gradient color. So we're gonna set up gradient color for our app bar, and let's see how to do that. Now over here I'll have gradient color, so I'll choose gradient, and then after that we'll choose linear gradient, that's it. And then inside this we have colors. Now this colors actually takes a list, so we're gonna put inside it a list of colors, and then I'm gonna be very quick and type in them from AGB, and then I'll just tweak the value 176 106, and then we'll have 231. Now this is one of the colors, so we'll use the 4 colors in this case. So here I'm gonna copy them. All right, so a lot of them will just change the color channel, and a little tweak would make it more like this gradient color. And over here I'll do 3-1, and then here we'll do 2-3, and pretty much everything stays the same over here. 04 and 132. All right, so that's one of the colors that we used, and after that here we could apply a bit of rotation. But before we do that, actually, maybe from here. So inside this, actually we could just simply call our app bar, and here we do build app bar. Yeah, now let's go ahead and look at our app over here, and let's save it. Let's click on this. Now it was supposed to take us to a new route, and this is our new route. We already see it here. As you can see, it's beautiful. Yeah, and we see that our route has been printed. That's a very beautiful one, and we have passed a lot of parameters from our earlier, let's say, controller. No, it was not here. Well, there was a I guess that was a chat controller, and not really chat controller. Let's see. Let's take a look. That was, I guess, contact controller over here. So our routes are pretty much there. So these are the routes, right? Beautiful. Now we'd come over here, and we need to do more things about it. So now we don't want the color to be set up like this, so we can change a little bit. So here we could do transformation, and here we could do gradient rotation. Now let's put it 90 degree and see how it goes. You see it already rotated, and that's beautiful. All right, so that was a part of it, and then we also want to set up our title. So that was the elevation, and after elevation we want to set up the title for our container. So here we do title and the container, right? And here as well as we'll have padding, and we'll do as insets only. So top 0W, bottoms 0W, and the right 0W. Great. And inside this we'll have child, and then we'll have row, then we'll have children. Now why we are doing like this? Because here, as you can see, so we're gonna put everything in a row like this. In the row, this is the first child, and this is the column we'll have. So that's why we're having this. Now remember, this is not a beginner's tutorial, so I do have beginner's tutorial 5 hours. So if you really don't understand all of the UI, go back and check that. I'm not going to explain them over here. Now anyway, so first we'll have a container, and inside this container actually we want to show the image. So first let's copy this and put it here. Oops, I made a mistake. So Control C and then Control B. All right, and then inside this, for now we'll have child, and child would be inkwell. In future we can make our profile photo clickable, so that's why we'll have this one. And then inside child we'll have inkwell, we'll have another child, and then we'll have sized box, and then we'll set up width and height for our image. That's what we'll have, and height. So this will give us a square size, and then child over here. Now here we do cast network image. All right, and inside this we'll have image URL. Now this part is weird. A lot of time this doesn't get imported. Let's see if we can import it manually. So let me remove the unnecessary files from here. Okay, now over here we do import package cached network image. This one, this is what we want. And let's see, cached. So now it's asking us to put an image URL, so that's what we would do. So here we'll have image URL, then here we do controller dot state. Well, now let's look at our chat controller. Well, our chat controller actually is pretty much empty. We don't have anything inside, so we can't access the properties. Well, now chat controller should have well, state class. So let's go ahead and check that. So this is our state class, and state class is also empty. So here we would say chat state. All right, now inside this we're gonna declare a couple of variables, and then we should be good to go. And let's import this. Yeah, all right, so that's our chat controller. And now, sorry, there was a chat state class, and then here we would have a chat state equal chat state. Now we don't need this that view, so here we are. Now let's see if we can access some of the properties. Dot state and dot to avatar dot value. So that's what we want. Okay, so now let's go ahead and save it. Yes, we already see that there is an image icon that was supposed to show up, but it did not. Now looks like it couldn't find this value for this one. Now if you come over here, we don't need this. Okay, so this is our state. So we have two avatar and a message content list. So yeah, so this looks like it's empty. Okay, now why it's empty, if you come over here inside this controller, and actually I would go and find contact controller like this one. So let's take a look. Now regardless whichever route we are clicking to, it doesn't matter, it could be this route or any of them. So as you see, we are passing parameters to this chat controller, and as we pass, actually we are passing avatar and a lot of information. Now the problem is, in our chat controller we are not grabbing them, so we need to grab that. And how to do that? So we could do it in our function. So that's called onInit function. So we can go ahead and grab our information in there. So here we do super dot onInit. All right, and right after this we'll declare a variable, and we'll call it data. And then here we do get dot parameters. So with this we'd be able to grab all the parameters that's being passed to this route as we click. And this route also of course has to connect it with our controller. Like here we have this binding, right? So controllers refers to this one, so which means that we'll be able to grab all this information in chat controller. So this is our chat controller, and with this we'd be able to do that. And now over here, so let's declare, well, at the top actually we can declare a variable. Here declare a variable doc id, and now we can save the doc id, because doc id we are also passing to from the other controller. So here we do data, and here we do doc id. All right, great. And then state dot to uid, this one. So whatever the information we are passing, we are saving them now. So data to uid. Now once again, if it is null, then put empty string inside this. Now here we'll have state dot to name dot value, and here we'll have data once again to name. If it is empty, then we're gonna put empty string. If it is null, actually double question means it's null, right? If it is null, then we'll do that. Once again, I have the basic tutorials for all these issues, so just go ahead and check them, because if I explain everything here step by step, it will take years to finish this tutorial. So to avatar, once again double question mark means if it is null, then use the one on the right side. If it is not null, whatever the value is here, use that one. Okay, great. So now this time I think our error should be gone. So now let's restart our app. So here we are. Now we're gonna click on this, and as you can see, this is our avatar. Of course everybody's avatar is different. Now my avatar is this, and we also passed a lot of this information from there to here. All right, so now we're gonna go back to this view class over here, and here we do see that we have this, and now that's the image URL, and we can also use another property called image builder. Now image builder, if somehow there is no image or empty, so it's more like a fallback thing that we do. Now it takes a container just to go ahead and return a container, and once again height 44.w with 44.w, margin null, we don't pass anything to it, decoration box decoration. All right, and border radius, sorry, I'm being a little fast, decoration, and border radius. So here border radius dot all radius dot circular, and now here we do this one, and after this actually we could also do an image here. So this is the image that we want to show if our network has no image. I mean, from Firebase, if we don't have any image, then we are gonna show this one. So now image provider, and fit box fit dot cover dot, okay, this one, and right after this, okay, cached. So that was image builder, and let's save this. Okay, yeah, sorry, this is actually this image it refers to. I'm sorry, it's not the fallback image. So whatever we have done, actually we are going to style this one. Okay, fallback image is actually error widget. I'm sorry about that. So with this image builder, we just able to style it. That's what we did. And right after this, here we'll have error widget. Now we're gonna do here context and URL and error, and right after this you just return an image, and then here you also return image. Now here I'm going to return one image from my asset folder. You should do the same, and of course if you're following along with me, you'll have the exact same images, the one I'm having over here. Okay, great. So if somehow we fail to get image, so that would be the image from our asset folder. All right, so that's one of this container that we are done over here. Inkwell. Okay. So next we're gonna show the other part over here. As you can see, this name and the location. But of course the location thing we didn't work yet, so we need to work on that. But anyway, so let's continue. So here we'll have container, and then with 180w, and then padding. Now I'm going to copy all this section, and I'm going to put it here, and right after this I'll have a child, and then I'll have a row children once again. So here I want to get a sized box, and then here I'll define width, so 180.w, and then over here we'll have height 44.w, this one, and then I'll have child over here. Inside the child we'll have gesture detector, because in future we want to be able to tap and go somewhere. And then over here we'll have a child and a column. So this is the actual column that's being started right now. I mean, I'm talking about this column. Well, even though before that I see a sized box and a row. So with the row you'd be able to put more things on the left and right if you want. So size box just to give it a size, the exact size that we need. But if you want to put more stuff after sized box, you can put that. All right, So first, let's go ahead and set up some of the children. So we do text, and then here we do controller dot state dot to name this one, and then we'll use value. So that's our text controller that would get us the username, like this is my name. Okay, beautiful. Well, slowly we're getting all this information from Firebase. That's beautiful. Overflow. And now if the user might have a very long name, then you want to use this one, cut part of the name, otherwise you will have overflow issue. And here we'd also show max line 1, so name just one line, and then we could do style, text style, and then here we'll have font family, Avener, font weight dot bold, color, well, we could do app colors dot primary background color, font size 16.sp, this one. And yeah, let's save it, and it looks a little better now. Now we're gonna copy this and just put it here, and that would be for location. But for now, actually, we don't have any location, so just set unknown location. And here we're gonna use 14. All right, so unknown location. And font weight, we could use normal. Well, very soon actually we're gonna work on the location, but for now, to look it better, we just do it like this. And over here, I guess we can also set up some properties. So here we do cross-axis alignment dot start. So that should be horizontally, so we start everything from the beginning. And then over here, main axis alignment, and then here we do main axis alignment dot space between. All right, so that's a horizontally. Now they're too close to each other, so definitely we could work on maybe a distance. Let's see, so right after this actually we could do a sized box, I guess, sized box, and over here we could do height width, say 15W. Yes, okay, so that's pretty much it. Well, you can go back, click on this, it will take us to this route. Beautiful. Now so far it's working fine. Now next we need to start working on the chatting section. So far everything is good. Now if we want to click on this and check our Firebase console, most probably we'll see that we have a new collection. So let's go ahead and click that one more time, and this is where we have worked so far previously. And now if you come over here and refresh our console, you will see that we have a new collection. The collection name is messages, we have document and things like that. And this is all we expected, because earlier we have seen that if we create like from our that's not chat controller, I think that should be contact controller. So let's go ahead and check contact controller one more time. So yes, we have seen that if we don't have any kind of collection first time, so this section gets called and it inserts data into Firebase as you click on that. Okay, great. All right, so that part has been successful. Now let's go ahead and close this. So what is the next section we want to do? We want to do actually like this. So over here, first we're gonna create this text controller, this image icon and the button, and then as well as we'll send messages. The first thing of sending messages would be like, for example, from here we'll send message and we'll see that the message has been saved in our Firestore database. So that's the first step we want to do. We're gonna take the data from here and send it to Firestore database. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Now here is our chat controller so far, and at the top actually I'm going to declare some new variables. So let's go ahead and do that. So first I would do text over here text controller like that, and then here we'll get text editing controller. All right, and make sure that you import the library, and then actually we also gonna work on scroll. So here I'll have scroll controller, and here I would say message scrolling, and then here I'll invoke scroll controller. And then because we are going to work with text editor, so actually we want to create focus node for that, and here we do content node, and here we'd say focus node, just like that. And after that, actually we also want to get user ID. So here user ID equal fire user store .to.token. Now we already know how we get that thing, right, during the login. So before everything we do over here, make sure that of course you are logging into the account, otherwise it won't work. Now then we'll get an instance of our Firestore Firebase database. So Firebase Firestore dot instance. All right, I think it should be small letter. Yes. Okay, with this we are done, and then after that actually we're going to create a new method. The method would call from, as we click on a button like this, and then we're going to call that method, and that method would help us send data to backend to Firestore database. So here's the thing, we'll call it send message like this, and that's all. Now inside this, first we want to grab our text controller, and text controller will have string. So we'll say send content. This is the content that we want to get, and here my text controller dot text. That's what we want to get. Okay, great. So this is the first thing we want to get, and then whatever the message we get, so we want to convert it to an object using other properties. So here we'll create a variable and we'll call it content, and then here we have a model which is called MSG content. Now inside this, here we're gonna pass UID. So here we'll have user ID, the one that we are getting early, as you can see from here, and then content, and then here we'll say send content, the one that we created. So we are getting the text value from text editing controller, and then the type of message we want to send to backend, so that would be text message, and then we also want to add a timestamp to it. So here we do timestamp dot now. All right, great. So with this we are getting an object. Now once again, this is a model. This model help us dealing with the kind of message and information we want to send to backend. All right, so we have from Firestore, which is the same as from JSON, and we have to Firestore, which is same as a to JSON. Okay, so this is a simple model that deals with encapsulating and packaging our messages information with content type and add time, as well as a user ID that who is sending this message. All right, come back to this section now. So this is the object that we want to convert to map before we send to database, and this is the object that we want to convert to if we get message from database. All right, now right over here, this is a place actually where we want to send messages. So once we click button, we'll grab the text object and we'll put some information, and then over here actually we are going to send the message to the backend. So here we do await db dot collection. Now of course, as we do that, we have to have this async modifier. Now here we want to have this messages collection. We already have it. So what will happen? We already have this. So inside this field section over here, we'll create a sub collection. So all the messages, the one we send from our phone, would be saved inside a sub collection over here. All right. So then we'll get the document ID, and here we'll have doc.id, like this is the ID, or on the other hand, this is the ID, actually document ID. And then over here we'll have a sub collection once again, but this collection will create first time MSG. We'll call it messages list, and then from here we'll invoke a new function which is called with converter. With converter, this one. So let's get organized with this. Now here from Firestore, once again MSG content, this one, and then here we'll call from Firestore, and then just as usual previously we have worked, here we'll say MSG content, and here we'll call MSG content, and we'll have a property options, and after that we just return and MSG content, and we'll call the method, MSG and to Firestore, and that's all. Okay, so that's what we have, and after that actually we want to invoke another method to this with converter, because remember, whatever the data we are having over here with this, because of this with converter, it'll convert it to map data type, which Firebase accepts, because Firebase only accepts map data type. It doesn't accept any kind of object. So here we'll call this add method. Now inside the add method we're gonna send our content. So this is the content. Now internally it will do a conversion of the object to map, and then it would be here, and then because we have this add method, so it will add to the backend. Now here we want to, because it's asynchronous operation, so here we could do a little bit more operation that what's happening. Now inside this actually either you could do more stuffs or just print a message. So for now over here inside this we do print message. Here it would say document snapshot added with ID. Now here we're gonna do like this, doc.id, that's it. So if we have a document that's added, we wanna get it. Now this is not coming from here, so we need to change this. So we can do document reference, document reference, and then we'll call it doc. Yeah, and let's see over here. Actually we don't need this, and we can just simply put it here. Okay, the error should be gone. So once this adds in this message list, it'll return us a new document, and the document ID we are gonna save or print actually. And once the adding is done, so here text editing controller, we can just clear it. We don't need that anymore. So it's auto clear, and then here we do get dot focus scope, and then we'd call unfocus. Now this is coming from getx, so it's beautiful. So you'd be ready to use your text editing controller one more time. All right, and that's it. And at the same time actually we can also add a time step to our messages list over here. Now here for now we'll see that last message, and so last message, actually we don't want to add a timestamp, actually we want to add the last message over here. For now it's empty, we want to add that. Okay, all right, so now one thing we need to do, we need to find a way to call this method before we do anything else. But anyway, so there is one more step that we need to do. So here we do await db.collection, and then inside this we'll have message, and then you want to update. So here we would call our doc, and then doc ID, this one, and then here we do update. and then here we'll do last msg, and here we're gonna send the content over here. So here we would say send content, the one that we have from user, that one. At the same time, let's see, okay, we need to cut this one, and because update method takes map, so here we need this curly braces, otherwise we'll have error. Okay, so inside update we have this one, and then we put this, and after that we can also update the last time something happened to this document. So timestamp dot now. Okay, great. So with this we would be able to update a particular message document. Now this one is not here yet. The reason because we still don't have this button in our UI, so our UI actually should be over here, right? So now we're gonna work on the UI and find a